Children, let us revise according to the lessons. Now, I'll just give you few important things for you to study and how to make studying very simple and easy. So when you start studying from the first chapter, you just have to concentrate on these few topics which I have given. See, in the first lesson, you have few definitions. Get or be thorough with these definitions. That is, what are autotrophs and heterotrophs, saprotrophs, and symbiosis. Of course, autotrophs, you know the mode of nutrition. Here, the organisms can make their food themselves. And the green plants come under the group of autotrophs. Under heterotrophs, you have animals and other organisms which take in food prepared by the plants, and they are called heterotrophs. Here you have almost all the animals, human beings come under this group of heterotrophs. Then the next one is saprotrophs, where in this mode of nutrition, the organisms take in their food or nutrients from dead and decaying matter, and this is called saprotrophic nutrition. Here examples are fungi, mushroom, etc. Symbiosis is again organisms here live together and share both shelter and nutrients. That is, they help each other here. So in this relationship is called symbiosis. And then what is rhizobium? It is a bacterium that takes atmospheric nitrogen and converts it into a soluble form. So these are the few important things which you need to study in the first lesson. And of course, the last portion there is the replenishment of the soil. That is how soil gets replenished either with the help of the rhizobium bacteria and the fertilizers which the which man produces for the soil. So if you study this much in the first chapter, I think it is more than enough. Now, in this lesson, when you're going to study fiber to fabric, we have just spoken about animal fibers here. What are the important things that you need to study over here is you have animal fibers, and we have spoken about wool and silk. Now, wool is obtained from the fleece of sheep, and the important term that you remember here is the meaning of the word shearing. That is, the removal of the fleece along with a thin layer of skin is called shearing. Then, which are the animals that give you wool? Of course, Angora goat, the llama, the alpaca, the yak, etc. The next important thing that you have to understand here or you have to study is the processing of wool, which involves many steps, and it has been explained to you. I'm just giving it to you in gist over here. Shearing, scoring, sorting, cleaning of burrs, dyeing and rolling. So these are the different steps that are involved in the processing of wool. So you study this much about wool. And of course, you can also go to study about the different breeds of sheep that are found in India. Maybe you can remember one or two names. So now that is already there in your PPT. The next one is you study about silk. So now when you're going to study about silk, you know how it is obtained from silkworms and fibers. And the fibers are made of protein. And the study of these silkworms is called sericulture. Okay. Then you study about the life cycle of the silkworm. The different stages, just go through it, okay, which is already given in your PPT. Then cocoon to silk, the different processes again over there is rearing, processing of silk, that is which involves the reeling of silk. And the last one is selective breeding. What is the meaning of selective breeding? One important definition which you remember: process of selecting parents for obtaining special characters in their offspring is termed as selective breeding. So in this lesson, you need to study, and these are the few important points which you have to study. Now, in this lesson on heat, you just remember these points. Heat is a form of energy. Then what is the Meaning of temperature. Temperature is nothing but the degree of hotness or coldness of an object. Then which is the instrument that is used to measure the human body, temperature of the human body? It is a clinical thermometer. Then what is the liquid metal that is used in a clinical thermometer? Is mercury. And why there is a constriction in the clinical thermometer, and what does it do? It prevents the mercury from falling back into the bulb quickly. That is, as soon as you remove it from the mouth of the patient and you have to see the reading. So this constriction or the kink prevents the mercury from falling back into the bulb quickly. The next, you have the lab thermometer. So you just study the difference between the lab thermometer and the clinical thermometer. The next topic is transfer of heat, where you have to learn to define conduction, convection and radiation. So conduction takes place in solids, convection takes place in liquids and gases, and radiation of course doesn't happen when there is no medium. So when there is no medium, no radiation takes place. The next one is conductors and insulators. You need to know how to define conductors, how to define insulators, and the difference between conductors and insulators. Similarly, study for land and sea breeze, the definitions for both and the differences between the both. Then give reasons. Of course, you can get different give reasons where why we wear woolen clothes during winter, why we wear light clothes during summer. Okay, and then of course there's one more give reason which you could get is why do we wear only one layer of clothing? Why is it better to wear many layers of clothing than one thick layer of clothing during winter? So these are the few give reasons which you could get. So these are the important points that you need to study in this lesson on heat. Physical and chemical changes. First, learn to define physical change, chemical change. A change in which only physical properties change is a physical change. It is generally reversible and no new substance is formed. Chemical change, a change in which one or more new substances are formed, is called a chemical change, and it is reversible and usually new substances form, and you understand how to write if it is given for differentiate the following. Then next, what happens when? This is examples for your physical chemical changes. So we did this. All these examples were taught to you, where magnesium, which is a metal, if it is burnt, it burns with a very bright flame, leaving a powdery ash of magnesium oxide. Now, if this magnesium oxide is mixed with water, magnesium hydroxide is formed. Again, similarly, if you have baking soda is mixed with lime water, it produces carbon dioxide. Then iron nail dipped in copper sulfate solution gets a layer of copper deposited on it, and the blue solution of copper sulfate changes to a green solution of iron sulfate, because here in all these three reactions there is a chemical change that is happening. So once it is formed, you cannot get back the original substance. And the next important topic you remember is what is the meaning of rusting, and what is crystallization, and what is galvanization. So rusting, of course, if you leave iron for a long time outside your house, or if it is left open, the moisture and the oxygen which is present in the atmosphere combines with the iron, forming iron oxide. Okay, and this can be prevented either by painting, or one more method is galvanization, where galvanization is a method of just putting a layer of zinc on the iron piece. So it prevents rusting. And of course, the last thing here you have to study is crystallization, where crystallization is just the process of obtaining crystals from pure substances or from the solution of pure substances. So that is crystallization. And of course, study what are the important examples of physical and chemical change.